Hello and a warm welcome to Cup of Culture. My name is Sarena and today I'm going to be talking about one of the most beautiful and delicious British traditions, the afternoon tea. Afternoon tea is a tea-related ritual, hence the name, and it's a light meal composed of 3 courses. So we have these sandwiches and dainty savouries, scones with clotted cream and jam, and we have some small pastries and cakes. So it basically is a selection of dainty and exquisite small courses, and if you combine all these 3 layers together you will get an indulgent experience. Afternoon tea is around 4 p.m. and it all started in Britain in the 1840s when Anna, the 7th Duchess of Bedford, had a sinking feeling in the late afternoon, which is why she started to order some bread and butter and tea over to her room, which became a habit at first. And then it started to result in a social gathering when she invited friends over. So basically, wealthier families squeezed in some tea and cake in the late afternoon if they had a little bit of a lull. Afternoon tea is also called low tea, as back in the day they were sitting on low tables with comfortable chairs and sofas in the drawing room. And it should not be confused with high tea, which is actually something completely different. So workers would come back home after a long day at work and would have some tea at around 5 and 6 p.m, including a heavy meal like fish, meat and something else. So it's something different. So afternoon tea is not reserved for the upper class anymore, and you can basically find it anywhere you like. However, it is usually enjoyed on an occasional indulgence. So you can either go to a real live old school England atmosphere like I'm in right now, or you can go to a tea salon with a grand atmosphere, which you will definitely find in London, for example. So again, what is afternoon tea? It is a selection, as I already told you, of sandwiches, scones and pastries. But before we start, first things first. Here we have a napkin, and you should fold it in 2, just like that. Put it on your lap, like this, with a fold towards you. And now we can begin. Usually you would drink tea from fine bone china, just like this, and you should always use loose tea leaf, which is why you would need a tea strainer. So mine already has one inside, so I don't need an additional one. So the range of teas being offered, depending on the tea house, can vary between just the essential and most popular ones to an extensive tea menu, including some very rare ones. However, teas you'll most probably find in most places are black teas, such as an Earl Grey. Green teas are also most commonly offered, and also herbal and fruit teas grow in popularity. But the differences between those teas would be another story. So now going on to one of the most essential questions of this video. Do you put the milk or tea in first? So actually you would pour in the tea in first, and this is something to do with aristocracy. So thinking of houses like Downton Abbey, you would pour in the tea in first, because they were drinking out of fine bone china, as previously mentioned, and the lower class, the downstairs, they were drinking out of clay mugs and pottery. So to prevent it from cracking, they were pouring in the milk in first. Stirring the tea, the posh way is to go back and forth in a 6 and 12 motion, rather than going round and round and round, creating a loud noise. If you added any sugar cubes, it would not help them dissolve. They would just sit at the bottom or go round and round with a spoon, and will simply just sweeten up the very last sip of your tea. But you don't want that, which is why you just go back and forth in a 6 and 12 motion. So afterwards you can just put the spoon on the saucer behind your cup. So how to hold your cup of tea? So meet your index and thumb in the middle and let it all rest on your fingers. But you should not do the pinky up. Actually, we used to think that this was the posh way, but actually it was already frowned upon back in the days. So do you pick up the cup and the saucer, or do you pick up the cup alone? Well, the answer to this one depends on where you're sitting. If you are sitting at a low table, then you pick up the saucer and the cup. But sitting at a high table like this, picking up the cup is just fine. But what you should never do is slurping. So we've finally reached the stage where we can actually eat something, and we're going to work ourselves from the bottom up. So starting with our finger sandwiches, cut delicately into small pieces. So you should always eat your sandwiches with your fingers and not cut it with a fork and knife. Here we have a combination of smoked salmon and cream cheese, and also egg, mayonnaise and cress. So now coming to my favourite part of the afternoon tea, and this is eating scones with clotted cream and jam and even some lemon curd. Well, what is clotted cream? It basically is 100% heavy cream, but it is just heavenly delicious. Scones were not part of the traditional afternoon tea, but I mean, you can't imagine an afternoon tea without scones anymore. So I'm just going to have to get one of these beautiful and delicious scones. So scones are neither completely savoury nor completely sweet, but you add a little bit of sugar to take them off savoury, and also here I have some raisins inside, so mine are rather sweet, to be honest. So there is an ongoing debate over how to best eat them and pronounce them. Is it either scones or is it scones? But there is one thing for sure, and that is that you should not use a knife to cut your scone. You should use your hands to break them. And I'm going to show you. Just like this. Now we need to decide how we're going to lay our scones. So here we have some homemade strawberry jam, clotted cream and lemon curd. If there are any communal dishes, what you shouldn't do is get them and put it directly onto your scone. What you should do is get your knife and put a little bit on your plate and put it back. The same goes for the jam. And obviously also for the lemon curd. When it comes to layering your scone, you have two options. So if you're from Devonshire, you would put the clotted cream on first, followed by a scoop of jam. But if you're from Cornwall, you would do the reverse and put the jam on first, followed by some clotted cream. Well, personally, I would have to go with the Devonians on this one, because I just love it when my clotted cream goes on first. But whatever you do, when it all comes together in your mouth, you will just forget about anything else in the first place. So it doesn't matter, does it? However, there's one thing that you actually shouldn't do, and that is to make a sandwich or burger out of it and eat as a whole, if you don't want to get disapproving looks. And excuse me, now I'm just going to have to get a bite. If your sweet tooth hasn't been satisfied yet, we can move on to our final course, the sweets and pastries. So here we have a beautiful selection of lemon tartlets, carrot cake and a raspberry cake. So usually when you eat pastries and cakes, you will get a small fork like this, and you should hold it in your right hand upturned, and then just simply enjoy your cakes and pastries. So now that we've had a taste of all of the three small but delicious and delicate courses, we can now come to an end. So in the future, I hope that you're also going to indulge yourself with this heavenly collection of small delicacies, and who knows, maybe you're also going to host an afternoon tea yourself. Well, my name is Sarena, I had lots of fun filming this video, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!